The lights of the sold-out arena bathed the ring in a golden glow, their brilliance flickering against the sea of flashing cameras. The air was thick with anticipation, the crowd roaring in waves as they awaited a fight that no one had ever imagined, yet somehow, it was happening. At one corner stood Mike Tyson, a living legend, a force of nature whose fists had shaped the history of boxing. Even in his later years, the aura of raw, unfiltered aggression still clung to him, a primal energy that sent shivers down the spine of even the most seasoned fighters. Across from him, clad in sleek, custom-made fight gear, stood Elon Musk, billionaire, innovator, the man who had redefined technology itself. He had conquered space, transformed transportation, and now, for reasons known only to him, had chosen to step into the ring against one of the most dangerous men to ever lace up a pair of gloves. No one knew what had led to this moment. The rumors had spread like wildfire. Some said it was a grudge match born from a heated argument, others believed it was a spectacle orchestrated purely for the love of combat. Whatever the truth was, it no longer mattered. The bell was about to ring, and the world was watching. Tyson rolled his shoulders, his muscles taut, every movement exuding the menace of a predator waiting to strike. His eyes locked onto Musk with a chilling intensity, searching for any sign of hesitation. But Musk, the man who had defied logic time and again, met that gaze with an expression unreadable, as if he had already calculated every possible outcome. The crowd's excitement reached a fever pitch as the referee stepped forward, reciting the standard instructions, though everyone knew they were mere formalities. Tyson had spent a lifetime dismantling opponents, breaking them down with devastating precision. Musk, on the other hand, was an enigma. He wasn't a trained fighter, at least not in the traditional sense. His strength had always been in his intellect, his ability to outthink his competition. But this was different. There was no algorithm to predict the fury of a Tyson punch, no equation to neutralize the sheer violence of a man who had built his legacy on obliterating anyone who stood in his way. The bell rang. Tyson moved first, a blur of muscle and intent. His footwork, still eerily sharp despite the years, carried him forward with a grace that contradicted his power. Musk held his ground, his hands up, his stance solid but unfamiliar. The first jab came fast, a lightning-quick flicker of Tyson's left hand testing the waters. Musk dodged barely. The crowd gasped, some in shock, others in amusement. Had he trained for this? Had he somehow prepared for what was coming? Tyson didn't waste time on questions. He pressed forward, his next punch a hook aimed at Musk's ribs, a shot designed to crack through defenses. Musk shifted, absorbing the blow but remaining upright, his jaw clenched as if he were solving a problem in real time. And then, something unexpected happened. Musk countered. It wasn't the smooth movement of a veteran boxer, but it was precise, a calculated strike aimed at disrupting Tyson's rhythm. The impact wasn't enough to hurt the former champion, but it was enough to make him pause. The crowd erupted. No one had expected Musk to land a punch, let alone hold his ground. Tyson's lips curled into something between amusement and annoyance. He had faced giants, warriors, men who had spent their entire lives training for combat. This was different. This was a man who had never been in a real fight, yet he was still standing. The seconds ticked by, the energy in the arena crackling like a live wire. Tyson adjusted, his movements more aggressive now, his fists seeking to break through whatever strange, unpredictable strategy Musk had planned. And then, just as Tyson launched a thunderous right hook, Musk did something no one could have expected. The punch sliced through the air, a brutal force of nature aimed at ending the fight right then and there. Tyson had thrown it with the kind of precision that had left countless men crumpled on the canvas before they even knew what hit them. The crowd gasped as the world seemed to slow down for an instant, every heartbeat echoing through the arena. But Musk didn't go down. Instead, something unexpected happened. His body twisted just enough, the punch grazing past his face by the slimmest of margins. The movement wasn't pure instinct, it was calculated, as if he had anticipated it before Tyson had even thrown it. Tyson's eyes narrowed. This wasn't just a man stepping into the ring for a publicity stunt. Musk had done his homework. There was something unnerving about the way he moved, not polished like a trained fighter, but strategic, adaptive. The billionaire's mind worked in ways few could understand, and now, it seemed, he had turned that brilliance toward surviving in a space where intellect alone meant nothing. The arena erupted into a mix of cheers and laughter. Some fans were here for the spectacle, expecting Musk to fold within seconds, while others had placed absurd bets on the tech mogul pulling off the impossible. But those who truly understood fighting, those who had spent years studying the brutal science of it, saw something deeper at play. Musk wasn't just trying to win, he was testing something. Back in the VIP section, a group of analysts and fight veterans exchanged skeptical glances. One of them, a former champion who had once trained in Tyson's era, leaned forward, watching Musk's footwork with an expression caught between disbelief and curiosity. "He's not fighting like a boxer," he muttered under his breath. "He's thinking like an engineer." Meanwhile, behind the scenes, a different kind of tension was brewing. Just hours before the fight, rumors had started circulating about a wager, something bigger than money, bigger than pride. Whispers suggested that Musk hadn't stepped into the ring just for entertainment. There were unconfirmed reports of a private meeting between him and some of the most powerful figures in the tech and combat sports industries. Had this fight been arranged for something far more significant? And if so, what was at stake? Tyson, unaware or perhaps indifferent to whatever layers of intrigue surrounded the match, did what he did best: he adjusted. The hesitation was gone. His body, despite the years, moved with the same terrifying purpose that had once made him the most feared man in the world. He feinted left, drawing Musk into a defensive stance, then launched a devastating combination that left no room for escape. This time, Musk didn't dodge. He absorbed the hit, his body snapping back, his brain scrambling to process the sheer force behind the strike. A normal man would have collapsed. Yet, somehow, Musk stayed on his feet. Not out of toughness alone, but because he had studied pain, analyzed its limits, understood just how much the human body could endure if the mind refused to break. He wiped the sweat from his brow, a slight grin tugging at the corner of his lips. Tyson wasn't smiling. He had fought men who were bigger, stronger, faster. But never had he fought someone who approached a fight like this. Musk wasn't trying to win through brute strength, he was fighting like a man solving a problem, treating every punch, every movement, like data points in a larger equation. And that realization sent a flicker of something through Tyson's mind. Was this man really here to fight him? Or was he testing something beyond the ring? The seconds dragged into minutes, the intensity only growing with each exchange. The world outside the arena was already ablaze with speculation. Social media exploded with theories. Some claimed Musk had been training in secret with the best fighters money could buy, others believed he was using some kind of experimental technology, an unseen advantage that allowed him to anticipate Tyson's attacks. And then there were the truly wild conspiracies, the ones suggesting that this wasn't just a fight, but a demonstration. A preview of something much, much bigger. Deep in the heart of the arena, beyond the roaring fans and flashing lights, a small team of individuals sat watching the fight from behind dark screens, monitoring every movement, every impact, every calculated reaction. They weren't here for entertainment. They were gathering data. Studying. Preparing. Because if Musk had truly stepped into this ring for something more than pride, then what exactly was he planning next? Tyson could feel it now. The fight wasn't normal. Musk should have been finished by now, crumpled on the canvas like so many before him. But there he was, still standing, still calculating, as if he were running 1,000 simulations in real time. Tyson's instincts screamed at him something was off. He had fought men who trained their whole lives for this, warriors who had dedicated every waking moment to the art of destruction, and yet none of them had ever moved like this. Musk wasn't a fighter in the traditional sense, but he was learning, adapting with every exchange, every blow absorbed, every second that passed. Then, for the first time, Tyson hesitated. Just a fraction of a second, but in a fight like this, that was enough. Musk saw it. And he acted. Without warning, Musk stepped in, his stance shifting with a fluidity that hadn't been there before. His footwork, previously awkward and untrained, now carried an unnatural sharpness. He launched a straight right, not a wild, desperate swing, but something controlled, precise. The impact wasn't enough to hurt Tyson yet, but it was enough to make him step back, his mind racing. Musk had just done something no rookie should be capable of. He had thrown a punch with the kind of timing that took years to master. The crowd roared, but their excitement masked the unease spreading through the arena. Something was happening. Even the commentators, seasoned analysts who had seen it all, were struggling to process what they were witnessing. One of them, an old-school boxing veteran, leaned toward his microphone, his voice a mix of disbelief and caution. "I don't know what's going on here, but Musk just moved like a seasoned pro." Back in the VIP section, a man in a dark suit shifted in his seat, his expression unreadable. He pulled out his phone, typing something quickly before slipping it back into his pocket. Tyson exhaled slowly. He knew he had to finish this. Whatever Musk was doing, whatever game he was playing, it needed to end now. He stepped forward with the kind of aggression that had once made him the most feared fighter on the planet. His fists became a blur, his speed defying logic for a man his age. A left hook crashed against Musk's guard, then a right uppercut that should have sent him sprawling. But Musk absorbed it. Again. His body folded slightly under the force, but he didn't fall. He recovered too quickly. Too smoothly. And then came the twist no one saw coming. A flicker of movement. A subtle adjustment in Musk's posture. His breathing, once labored, now eerily controlled. His reflexes, once just a fraction too slow, now razor sharp. It was as if he had just leveled up mid-fight. Tyson narrowed his eyes. His instincts had been right, this wasn't just a fight. Musk's lips parted slightly, his voice barely audible over the crowd. "I was waiting for the right moment." Then he moved. For the first time in the fight, Musk went on the offensive. His hands, once clumsy and unsure, now moved with chilling precision. A 1-2 combination landed cleanly, his knuckles snapping against Tyson's jaw. The power wasn't overwhelming, but it was controlled, efficient. And that was the problem. This wasn't normal. A ripple of uncertainty spread through the arena. People started noticing. The billionaire wasn't just improving, he was improving too fast. Within minutes, his movements had transformed from novice to disciplined. Even Tyson, a man who had spent his entire life in the ring, could feel it in his bones. Musk was fighting differently now. A sharp, electric tension spread through the air. Tyson wasn't just fighting a man. He was fighting something else entirely. Somewhere deep in the crowd, hidden among thousands of cheering fans, a woman in a headset spoke into her mic. "It's working." He synced. The man in the dark suit glanced down at his phone again. A single message flashed across the screen. Tyson's pulse pounded in his ears. He had faced monsters in the ring before, men who lived and breathed destruction, but this was different. Musk wasn't just adjusting, he was evolving. The hesitation Tyson had felt earlier had turned into full-blown awareness. Something unnatural was happening, and he wasn't the only one who sensed it. The crowd, once lost in the spectacle, had grown quieter, their cheers laced with confusion. Then Musk attacked again, and this time, Tyson felt it. The billionaire's punches, once weak and amateurish, now carried force, real force. His footwork, his defense, his counters, everything had changed. He was faster, sharper, and most disturbingly, eerily precise. It wasn't just training, it was something beyond human learning. Tyson, a man who had spent decades perfecting the art of combat, was now facing someone who had done the impossible in mere minutes. A bead of sweat rolled down Tyson's temple. He had to end this before it got any worse. He launched forward, slipping Musk's jab and digging a devastating hook into his ribs. Musk staggered, but only for a fraction of a second. Then he smiled. Tyson's blood ran cold. Musk adjusted his stance and came forward with a speed he didn't have moments ago. A brutal cross connected, rattling Tyson's skull. For the first time in years, he felt something he hadn't experienced since his prime genuine danger. He stumbled back, blinking the stars from his vision. The crowd roared, but underneath the noise, there was a growing unease. In the VIP section, the man in the dark suit stood up. He wasn't watching the fight, he was watching Musk. "It's happening faster than expected," he muttered. The woman with the headset replied in a hushed tone. "He's fully integrated. The neural sync is complete." Tyson squared his shoulders. He had no idea what they were talking about, but he didn't need to. He trusted his instincts, and right now, they screamed at him that Musk was no longer the same man who had stepped into the ring. Musk exhaled, rolling his neck as if testing a new body. "It's incredible," he murmured, almost to himself. Then, he looked at Tyson, his expression one of sheer exhilaration. "I understand now." The next exchange was unlike anything the fight world had ever seen. Musk moved like a man who had unlocked something no fighter ever could: absolute adaptability. He dodged, countered, and attacked with mathematical precision, as if he were seeing the fight from a higher dimension. Tyson pushed back with everything he had, summoning the raw, terrifying power that had made him a legend, but it wasn't enough. And then, in one perfect motion, Musk struck. A single uppercut landed squarely under Tyson's chin, a blow delivered with the exact amount of force required to drop him without causing permanent damage. Tyson's legs gave out, his body collapsing onto the canvas. The world stood still. The referee stepped in, but he hesitated. No one, not even in the wildest odds, had predicted this outcome. Musk stared down at Tyson's fallen form, his chest rising and falling in measured breaths. He had done it. Then, the lights in the arena flickered. A soft vibration hummed through the ground. The screens around the stadium glitched for a fraction of a second, then displayed a symbol, one that no one recognized. In the VIP section, the man in the dark suit's phone vibrated. He checked the message. 3 words. "He's awake now." Musk looked up. He wasn't smiling anymore. Whatever had just happened, it wasn't over.